Xbox refuses to make a VR headset, and in this video we're gonna find out why. Hello there and welcome to RealityBreak, your one-stop shop for everything VR and AR related. In today's video we're gonna be talking about Xbox, and why they refuse to make a VR headset. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. So, with the release of the PSVR2 in February 2023, Xbox has been getting asked a lot about when they plan to get into the virtual reality market. Now, from what they've told us, Xbox currently has no plans to go into VR whatsoever, but I want to know why that's the case. Head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, said in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, "We have 10 games that have achieved over 10 million players life to date, which is a pretty big accomplishment, but that's the kind of scale that we need to see success for the game. And it's not quite there yet for AR and VR. So from that, it would appear that Xbox is concerned about the amount of players that VR has. But what I find interesting is that both the Quest 2 and Xbox Series X and S released in 2020, which was of course when COVID happened. So a lot of people were getting into gaming, and things like virtual reality also became a lot more appealing, as well as people just having a lot of time on their hands. And within the first year of both consoles, the Quest 2 actually outsold the Xbox S and X, with the Quest 2, according to Qualcomm's CEO, being in the 10 million range, whilst Xbox Series S and X sold just over 8 million units. Now let me remind you, that 8 million is the S and X combined, so two consoles couldn't outsell one VR headset. Currently, in 2023, the Xbox Series S and X are about equal in sales with the Quest 2, and it's actually expected that the Quest 2 is actually a little bit higher still, although it is quite hard to find sales figures, as Meta does like to keep cards close to their chest. So if the sales aren't bad, why does Xbox refuse to make a headset? But before we get into that, if you are enjoying this video so far, leaving a like and subscribing would help me out a lot. This is my first video on this channel, so it just needs a little help. Anyway, back to the video. I think that the main reason Xbox don't want to enter the VR market is due to the virtual reality retention rate. If you don't know what that is, retention rate is basically how long something can keep someone's attention. VR has a reputation for being notoriously bad at this. The Quest 2, for example, reportedly having a retention rate under 10%, meaning that 9 out of 10 people who have a Quest 2 don't even use it on a monthly basis, which doesn't take a genius to tell that that is pretty horrendous. So although there has been 20 million Quest 2s sold, the number of active users is probably around 2 million, if not actually less than that. Now, there's a lot of factors which contribute to a bad retention rate. I believe that the main reason is the lack of high quality games. So you have your VR headliners like Blade and Sorcery, Beat Saber, and of course, the amazing Half-Life Alyx. Now, I say this with no intent to offend any VR developers, but at the moment it's hard to find VR games with genuine love, care, and effort put into them. So when people buy a VR headset, they play the main titles, with some of them not even being available on Quest, like Half-Life. Then once they've finished them, they simply just put the headset away and don't pick it back up. Now there may be the odd release that will make them take it back out, but they aren't using it on a monthly basis. And because of this, the Quest 2's player count is way lower than it should be. I know I personally have friends who have played games like Half-Life Alyx and Blade and Sorcery, and simply just don't play VR anymore. VR isn't exactly cheap to get into as well, but people seem to just forget about it once they've done the main titles. Of course, there's also things like motion sickness which can affect the retention rate, but it's really not as much of a problem as people may think. I have many friends that play VR, and I don't know a single one of them who has major motion sickness issues. And most motion sickness stuff is to do with the game you're playing anyway, and not actually the headset, especially if you're using a modern one. So now that you know about VR's awful retention rate, maybe you can understand why Xbox is skeptical about entering the market. But there's actually still one more potential reason. So in 2016, Xbox's parent company Microsoft released the Hololens. The Hololens is by no means a consumer headset, with the first iteration costing $3,000 and the second iteration costing $3,500, which is the same price as the new Apple Vision Pro. Now, there's even a third iteration called the IVAS, which I had no idea even existed until researching this video. Now, I was on a website called buildwagon.com just researching the HoloLens, and then I started speaking to a guy called Johnny on the live chat, and he was telling me about how that actually is a third version and it's only used in the military. I also totally didn't think Johnny was a bot and then sent him this, and then completely regret what I just did after he sent back this. Anyway, it might just be the case that Microsoft sees more potential in augmented reality than virtual reality, and since they do have genuine contracts with the US military, they might actually be correct in doing so. And honestly, for Microsoft, I think that probably is the right direction to go in. But for Xbox, I think they would greatly benefit from stepping into VR games. Not even having to make a super complex VR headset, but by just having one that can compete with things like the PSVR2. Now obviously, that is quite a high-tech headset right now, but it's not like Xbox doesn't have the resources to do so, especially with Microsoft's previous research into the HoloLens. Now, if Xbox did step into the market, they have a lot of IPs, and would have a nearly endless supply of games able to be adapted to VR. For example, Halo, Forza, Gears of War, Dishonored, and even games like Call of Duty now that Microsoft is acquiring Activision. And of course, there are so many more, as they own a ton of studios like Bethesda, and as I previously mentioned, Activision, as well as Blizzard, Rare, and just so many more. Realistically, I don't think Xbox is going to make a headset for at least a good few years, or maybe even not at all. The closest we're getting at the moment is Xbox Game Pass officially coming to the Quest 2. We're not sure exactly how that's going to work, but it is at least a little step into VR for Xbox. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. And while you're down there, if you liked the video, it would really help me out if you did leave a like. But anyway, hopefully, I'll see you next time.